Hello everyone and welcome back to the arena for another season of Dungeons and Death Battles, the series where we search for the most lethal monster in all of Dungeons and Dragons. The rules are simple. The fight takes place in the arena, combatants start 30 feet apart, there is no fleeing the arena, and victory is achieved by kill only. In this third season of Dungeons and Death Battles, 16 deadly dungeon denizens will be duking it out to find out which one of them is worthy of being crowned the CR3 Arena Champion. Today we will be continuing on with the quarterfinals as the scheming Spectator takes on the plucky Gold Dragon Wyrmling for a spot in the semi-finals. As seats begin to fill in the arena below, I can tell you that the respective teams are gearing up for a spectacular showdown, each with the understanding that there can only be one victor. This battle marks a truly momentous occasion in the arena, as it will be the first time that both monsters have the ability to fly, which will surely make the combat to come a glorious spectacle of aerial prowess. Once again, the Kobold Mafia have performed their due diligence, with both anti-beholder goggles and potions of fire resistance being strongly advised for use during this encounter. A quick analysis of our combatants reveals a 14 AC and 39 hit point average for the Spectator, with a set of solid stats reinforcing a more mental-based build. But the Aberration's showstopper abilities are, of course, those terrific eye beams, which are capable of performing some terrifying feats, which the Wyrmling's team will no doubt be warning their champion about. Which does, of course, lead us over to the draconic side of the arena. The face today being none other than the Gold Dragon Wyrmling, yet another arena favourite who will be looking to take another step towards the title of Arena Champion. The Gold Dragon Wyrmling steps up with an AC of 17, one of the highest in this battle tier, as well as a sturdy hit point average of 60. The Wyrmling's stat spread is also second to none, with nothing below 11 and highlights on Charisma, Constitution and Strength, which stand out at 16, 17 and 19 respectively. On the abilities front, the Junior Dragon can deliver a punishing bite, but we all know what we're here to see, and that is none other than the explosive Fire Breath attack, which will hopefully be brought in full bore during today's battle. And without further ado, it does look like both sides are ready to go, which does of course mean it's time to roll for initiative, starting with the Spectator and its +2 modifier. So rolling in here for the Spectator, let's see what it can get here. And that is a miserable start for the Aberration with a natural 1, meaning that 2 is only going to bring it up to a 3. The Gold Dragon Wyrmling is going to have to do something pretty spectacular to not take the pole position here, but stranger things have happened, so rolling in for the Gold Dragon Wyrmling, looking to beat a 3 overall, and it does also have a +2 to this roll, with an 11 +2 for 13. It will almost definitely be leaping off the mark first here, and we are going to jump straight into the Gold Dragon Wyrmling's very first turn, and it is of course going to jump into the air, taking to the sky, flying straight above the Spectator, using part of its 60 feet fly speed to close the gap on the Spectator, getting within 15 feet, where it will be unleashing its very first Fire Breath of the round. Flames about to be licking and biting towards the Spectator, which must now roll in with a DC 13 dexterity saving throw to avoid taking the full brunt of this attack. So Spectator rolling in, DC 13 dexterity saving throw right here, and of course it does get a +2 to this. And that is a 7 +2 for 9, which does mean that it falls short of the 13 that it needed, and as such will be taking the full force of 4d10 points of fire damage here. Gold Dragon Wyrmling not messing around as it unleashes this devastating attack against its opponent. So of course that does mean 4d10 points of fire damage are rolling in towards the Spectator. So let's see just what kind of firepower the Gold Dragon Wyrmling is packing here. And that is looking like some pretty solid damage with a 6 and a 3 for 9. Plus that 7 for 16. And then adding that 5 on the top there for 21 points of damage here. Round 1. Seeing the Spectator drop from 39 to just 18 hit points after that initial gout of flame breath from the Gold Dragon Wyrmling. And to finish its turn, the gleaming Draconic Denizen is then going to fly down into melee combat with the Spectator, where it will look to put on the pressure. And that was an exciting opening round there from the Gold Dragon Wyrmling. We do hand over to the Spectator, which is going to kick the round off in a slightly sorry state, and it is going to go on the defensive here. And first things first, it is going to look to drop a paralyzing ray against the Gold Dragon Wyrmling in an attempt to see if it can break away from its opponent. So Gold Dragon Wyrmling must now roll in with a DC 13 Constitution saving throw or be paralyzed for 1 minute. But the Gold Dragon Wyrmling is a pretty tough critter and does have a +5 bonus to its Constitution saving throws. So rolling in once again, looking to beat a DC of 13 on this Constitution saving throw here. And that is a 10 with that 5, bringing it up to 15, which does mean that the Gold Dragon Wyrmling has resisted paralysis. The ray's gleaming yellow energy simply bouncing off of the scales of the dragon, no doubt ricocheting off somewhere into the crowd. Hopefully all you patrons took heed of the Kobold Mafia's warning and have been taking your paralyze resist potions. And the Spectator is now going to double down on its defensive position and is going to use its second eye stalk ability to drop a fear ray, once again attempting to bring the Gold Dragon Wyrmling's ego slightly down, and in the process inflict the frightened condition upon it, which would mean that both its attacks and ability checks would be rolled in with disadvantage should the Gold Dragon Wyrmling fail. With all that being said, the Gold Dragon Wyrmling will now be rolling with a DC 13 wisdom saving throw to avoid becoming afraid of the Spectator, and does get a +2 to this roll. Let's see what it can do. And that is a 3! A 3 + 2 for 5, which is definitely not going to succeed that roll, which does mean that the Gold Dragon Wyrmling is now afraid of the Spectator and has the frightened condition. This is outstandingly good news for the Spectator, which is going to take this on board and is going to fly 30 feet away from its opponent. And now it will be taking an attack of opportunity from the Gold Dragon Wyrmling, but due to the success of that fear ray, the attack will be at disadvantage. So now rolling in, Gold Dragon Wyrmling looking to get this opportunity attacking against the Spectator. Disadvantage due to the frightened condition. And it does get a +6 to its bite attack, and a 10 is going to be enough, with that +6 bringing it up to a 16, more than pushing over the top of the Spectator's 14 AC, which does mean that the Eerie Eyeball will be taking 1d10 + 4 points of piercing damage right here, as the opportunity attack does hit home. Rolling in, let's see how much damage the Gold Dragon Wyrmling can put down, and that is a 5 + 4 for 9 more points of damage, effectively halving the Spectator's remaining hit points, as it brings its light health down to just 9 points remaining. But the Spectator has at least managed to hightail it 30 feet away from the Gold Dragon Wyrmling, and as we hand over to the dragon, it does stutter and hesitate, unwilling to push closer towards the Spectator, as the effects of that fear condition push through its psyche as it considers its actions of what to do next. And while it will not be able to make any ground towards the Spectator this round, it will still be able to roll to see if it recharges its fire breath, so a 5 or a 6 on the d6, and that breath weapon will be recharged. And that is a 2, which does mean that it is not going to regain that this round. No doubt a side effect of it being afraid of its opponent. But with that, the Gold Dragon Wyrmling's turn does come to an end, and that means it can re-roll to see if it breaks out of that fear condition. We're rolling in now, looking to beat that DC 13 wisdom saving throw. Although this will be rolled in with disadvantage due to the Spectator's fear ray ability causing such. So a +2 to this again, looking to beat a DC 13 wisdom saving throw on disadvantage. And a 10 + 2 is going to bring that just shy of what it required, with that only being topped up to a 12, which does mean that the Gold Dragon Wyrmling is still afraid of the Spectator. Although who wouldn't be? A spiky floating eyeball with 4 extra eye stalks from the far realm is a fearsome opponent to face indeed, especially for a creature so young as the Wyrmling. But with that said, we do hand back over to the Spectator. Its defensive abilities have clearly done it a favor here, but the dragon, position-wise, is still currently grounded, having not been able to pursue the Spectator into the air due to psychological trauma. And the Spectator is, of course, floating around 30 feet above the arena, where it will kick things off this round by firing off a wounding ray, a sickly blast of green energy barreling towards the Gold Dragon Wyrmling here. Once again, it must make a DC 13 Constitution saving throw to avoid taking 3d10 points of necrotic damage. So Gold Dragon Wyrmling rolling in. As this is a saving throw, not an ability check, it can roll this straight, as fear does not affect saving throws. As the frightened condition does not affect saving throws, only ability checks and attack rolls. So rolling this one again, looking to be a DC 13 here on this Constitution save. Gold Dragon Wyrmling, a +5 modifier to this. And a 15 + 5 for 20 is going to be more than enough, which does mean that that attack damage is going to be halved, but it is still some damage nonetheless, as 3d10 points worth of necrotic damage fire in towards the Gold Dragon Wyrmling. Woohoo! And that is a very, very solid hit there from the Spectator, with a maximum roll there on that first dice, with 10 + 5 for 15, +8 for 23 points of damage, which will, thankfully for the Gold Dragon Wyrmling, be halved and rounded down due to it succeeding on its saving throw for just 11 points of damage. And that has brought the Gold Dragon Wyrmling down from 60 hit points to 49 as the Spectator's game plan moves forward and it begins to fire off its attacks. With that being said, it does still have a second eye ray to make use of, and this time it will once again be blasting down with a paralyzing ray. Once again, a DC 13 Constitution saving throw for the Gold Dragon Wyrmling, +5 to this, and a 10 + 5 for 15 will seal the deal here. Gold Dragon Wyrmling once again shrugging off another one of those eye rays. And with that said, the Spectator is going to move another 30 feet away from the Gold Dragon Wyrmling, continuing to put distance between itself and its foe. Rays, of course, having a 90-foot range, and it is going to capitalize on this where possible. But now we do hand it back over to the Gold Dragon Wyrmling once again, which is going to start things off by seeing if it can recharge its breath weapon. So again, a 5 or a 6 on the d6. And there we have it, a 5. When the time comes, that Gold Dragon's chamber has been refueled with that draconic fire that we know and love. But that does, of course, give the Spectator even more reason to stay as far away from its opponent as possible. That roiling fire building back up in the belly of the beast, just waiting for the right moment to strike. But unfortunately, due to that fear condition, the Gold Dragon Wyrmling is still unable to make any ground towards the Spectator. And as we come to the end of its turn, it will be rolling to see if it can break free from the condition once again. Still rolling in at disadvantage here due to the Spectator's own ability. A DC 13 Wisdom save here. Gold Dragon Wyrmling +2 to this. And a 16 would have been lovely, but that 2 + 2 for 4 is going to mean that the creature remains afraid. As we do once again hand over to the Spectator. Its strategy seems to be paying off right here. Gold Dragon Wyrmling simply a cowering mess in front of it, unable to push forward to close the gap. And the Spectator will kick things off here by using another 30 feet of its movement to push itself away once again, floating now 90 feet away from the Gold Dragon Wyrmling, where it will be at its maximum distance to unleash an eye ray. And that is, of course, what it will do, with that wounding ray firing across the arena first. Gold Dragon Wyrmling, DC 13 Constitution saving throw here again. +5 to this to avoid the full force of that damage. And a 19 +5 for 24 will most certainly make sure of that, as once again it will take half of 3d10 points of necrotic damage. And that is a much lower roll this time from the Spectator, with those 2s coming together for 4, plus that 3 there for 7 points of damage, halved and rounded down to just 3 points of damage. A far cry from the output of last round, but still dropping the Gold Dragon Wyrmling from 49 to 46 hit points. As once again, another paralyzing ray blasts across the battlefield, honed in on the Gold Dragon Wyrmling's position. Another Constitution saving throw, +5 to this for the Gold Dragon Wyrmling, as it looks to stave off that paralysis once more. And that is a 5! +5 for 10, which does now mean that the Gold Dragon Wyrmling is also paralyzed. The Spectator really is putting it all on display here, showing just how dangerous it really is with its lockdown abilities. The Gold Dragon Wyrmling is both now frightened and paralyzed. This is absolutely lethal right here, with condition after condition just being piled on top of the dragon. The Spectator really knows how to play the game here, but with that said, it does end its turn, and we will be handing back over to the Gold Dragon Wyrmling, which is in a serious spot of bother. And now it has already recharged its breath weapon, so no need to attempt that, which does mean we're going to skip through effectively to the end of it, where it will be looking to shake free for both the paralyzed condition and the frightened condition. So first things first, we'll go in order of most recent. The paralyzing ray was applied last, so we will be trying to break out of that one first. And so once again, rolling in that Constitution, +5 to this, looking to be the DC of 13, and rolling up a 7 with +5, bringing that to a 12. The Gold Dragon Wyrmling does remain paralyzed, and that is not a great start, but let's see if it can now break free from the frightened condition. Once again, this is at disadvantage, but it looks like it's done it this time, with a 13 on that dice, with that +2 modifier, bringing that all the way up to a 15, which does mean that the Gold Dragon Wyrmling is at least no longer afraid as it shakes off one of its conditions. However, all is not sunny right now for the Gold Dragon Wyrmling, as it is still paralyzed. The Spectator has really made sure to apply as many conditions as possible to its opponent, and as the Gold Dragon Wyrmling's turn comes to an end, we do hand back over to the Spectator once again, which is going to continue the trend of blasting its opponent with eye rays. First things first, that wounding ray is going to be blasted in once again. DC 13 Constitution saving throw here. Once again, that +5 we've become familiar with rolling in. And again, a 7 +5 for 12 is going to be a fail here, which does mean that for the first time, the Gold Dragon Wyrmling will be taking 3d10 points of necrotic damage to the face. Its twitching, quivering body, currently under the effects of paralysis, unable to move out the way this time. So rolling in this 3d10 full force this time. And another reasonable strike there, with a maximum hit on one of those dice for 10, +1 and 4 for 5 is going to make for 15 points of damage. That is more like it. And that is what the Spectator is looking for here, as the Gold Dragon Wyrmling is dropped from 46 to 31 hit points. And with that said, it is going to try its luck once more, and is also going to barrel in with a Fear Ray once again to see if it can get that Gold Dragon Wyrmling back under control. And now a DC 13 Wisdom saving throw here again. This is now rolling in straight. +2 to this for the Gold Dragon Wyrmling. And a 7 +2 for 9 does mean that that is a failure again. as the Gold Dragon Wyrmling once again succumbs to the Spectator's frightened condition. What is going on out here? This control is unreal from the Spectator, as that Fear Ray has been reapplied. And once again, that does mean that we hand back over to the Gold Dragon Wyrmling, which does just seem to be in a state of paralyzed lockdown, as we effectively skip once again to the end of its turn as it rolls to see if it can break free of both the frightened and paralyzed conditions. So once again, we're rolling from the top. Frightened condition first. Again, this is at disadvantage, once again due to that Spectator's ability. So looking to be a DC of 12 here, again +2 to this, rolling in at disadvantage. And that 5 is only going to top that up to a 7, which does mean that the Gold Dragon Wyrmling is still frightened as its turn comes to a close. But it will now be rolling in to see if it can break free from the paralyzed condition. A DC 13 Constitution saving throw here, +5 to this one. And a 14 +5 for 19 is going to be enough to break the paralyzed condition this time. Once again, a step in the right direction at least, but baby steps after all, as we do hand back over to the Spectator once again, which is going to once again just put down some more damage, hopefully, with that wounding ray. DC 13 Constitution saving throw again here, +5 to this, and a 10 +5 for 15 does of course mean it will be taking half of 3d10 points of necrotic damage once again. Gold Dragon Wyrmling will be taking half of this. And that is monstrous damage right there. The Spectator really looking to put an end to the Gold Dragon Wyrmling here sooner rather than later, with 2 10s for 20 plus that 5 for 25 points of damage, which will, very fortunately for the Gold Dragon Wyrmling, will be halved and rounded down for 12 points of damage, which will bring it down to 19 hit points, as it is starting to look a little worse for wear out here on the battlefield. And once again, the Spectator is going to lance him with another paralyzing ray to see if it can constrict the Gold Dragon Wyrmling even more. So again, +5 to this for the Gold Dragon Wyrmling, DC 13 Constitution saving throw. And a 17. A 17 +5 there for 22, which does mean that it at least staves off paralysis for another round. As we do once again hand over to the Gold Dragon Wyrmling, which is still absolutely unable to move any closer to the Spectator due to that frightened condition, and with the range on the Fire Breath only being 15 feet, it is far too far away to make any use of that whatsoever at this time, and we will be forced to come to the end of the Gold Dragon Wyrmling's turn, as it is unable to make any further ground towards the Spectator once again. And now we will roll in to see if it breaks that fear condition, something which it dearly needs to do now. Once again, disadvantage, +2 to this, looking to be a DC 13 Wisdom save. And it's done it! It has finally managed to break free from that fear, with that 12 +2 for 14, meaning that it is no longer afraid of its opponent, nor is it paralyzed, which does mean that it should be able to start to make some moves towards the Spectator at the beginning of its next turn, which does hopefully mean that it will be able to start encroaching further towards the Spectator now, where it will be looking to finish the job that started with that Fire Breath so many rounds ago. But with that said, we do hand over to the Spectator again, which is of course in its crafty alien mind thinking of doing one thing and one thing only, and that is reapplying that Fear Ray, which has kept it alive thus far in the battle. And so once again, bombarded by sickly energy, the Gold Dragon Wyrmling must once again make that DC 12 Wisdom saving throw to avoid becoming frightened once more. So, rolling in, +2 to this crucial roll. And there it is, a 17 +2 for 19. The Gold Dragon Wyrmling is not afraid. And with this in mind, the Spectator is going to drop a wounding ray to see if it can put an end to its opponent right here. A slight wash of desperation flushing over that eyeball. The Gold Dragon Wyrmling once again rolls in with a Constitution saving throw, +5 to this, looking to be that DC of 13. And a 19 rolling in sure and true, with that +5 topping that up to a 24. It will of course be taking half damage here once again. Spectator rolling in, and that is a calamitous hit there once again, with a 9 and a 6 for 15 plus that 7 for 22, which will once again be halved down to 11 points of damage, as the Gold Dragon Wyrmling is brought down to a mere 8 hit points here. But with that said, at the end of its turn, the Spectator will fly 30 feet further away from the Gold Dragon Wyrmling, trying to put as much distance between itself and its opponent as possible. And with that in mind, the Gold Dragon Wyrmling is finally able to move towards the Spectator, but being 120 feet away, it is far too far away to be able to actually make any meaningful impact in this round at least. And with that in mind, it will be taking the dash action, where it will launch itself and fly 120 feet, making it into melee range with the Spectator, as it flies all the way up into the sky to confront what has been an incredibly troublesome, frustrating opponent. And with that, we will end the Gold Dragon Wyrmling's turn. And seeing that everything has come down to a knife's edge here, The Spectator is once again going to drop in that wounding ray to see if it can put a final close to the Gold Dragon Wyrmling's rampage in the arena. Gold Dragon Wyrmling, a DC 13 Constitution saving throw once again, +5 to this, in the hope that it will take half damage. And that there again is the 7 +5 for 12, which does mean that it has failed this saving throw, and the Spectator will be dealing the entire amount of 3d10 points of necrotic damage to the Gold Dragon Wyrmling. Could it be all over here for the Draconic Denizen? Let's find out. 3d10 points of necrotic damage rolling in. And that is absolutely going to put an end to the Gold Dragon Wyrmling with those 2 6s for 12 plus that 3 for 15, which is going to reduce the Gold Dragon Wyrmling to 0 hit points. The necrotic ray washing across the Gold Dragon's body, tinging it with alien magic and light. Its wings failing it as it topples down from the sky, dropping like a stone onto the arena ground below, landing with a calamitous thud as the Spectator once again celebrates its victory here. I-beams blasting and lacerating the sky above as the spectators below take cover and admire the spectacle that is the Spectator's victory dance. And once again, what an incredible battle here in the arena. The Spectator finishing the Gold Dragon Wyrmling with its sheer prowess in locking down its opponent. What a ridiculous combat we've just witnessed. And I would like to thank each and every one of you for joining me in today's battle, where the Spectator earned its spot in the semi-final round against the Gold Dragon Wyrmling. Who'd have thought it, really? But with all that said, I hope you enjoyed this combat, and I do hope you will join me again next time when the Manticore takes on the Red Cap to see which denizen will be taking its place in the semi-finals alongside the Spectator. And of course, if you did enjoy your time here in the arena, please consider dropping a like on the video, commenting down below, and subscribing to the channel for more. We do also have a Patreon where you can head over to get slightly more involved in arena happenings, or just to support me a little bit more personally, which is very, very much appreciated. And with all that said, thank you once again very much for watching, and I will see you in another epic combat very soon.